everybody.
Hello.
Everybody. I don't know why
There's
I'm like
something.
doing the boy band.
Everybody, have you heard?
Everybody, right? We're just
If
really
you think
excited. We're just really excited, you guys,
which
because we're
we sure
back.
are. Yeah,
I am
absolutely.
Akashi Chris, and next to me is
I am Sati, or to some of you, Dr. Marley Doolittle. Hello,
Marley's in the
baby.
house. And she's not a proctologist. I'm just kidding. I don't know why. I was like, Dr. Marley do a little whoops with like the glove whoops. You need
Yeah,
like a commercial.
yeah. Well, I've
I'm
got the rubber
so
gloves.
happy. Oh, I know. I'm sure you can give a demo. That is a different show. That's more of a nighttime show. That's like an after hours show.
Please cough.
Okay. I am going to say hello to the chat because we have chatters in the house. Chatters in the house. And hold on, because I have special sound effects for my chatter. Hold on.
Yay.
Hold on. So, first of all, let's see. Who do we have in the house? Sarah. Sarah is of the clan Cabby. That's my Cabby when there's a Cabby in the house. That's Sarah. Hold on. This is going to take a while to go through the chat. It's Boston Bia. Hold on. She is also a Cabby. That's like it. Boston Bia. There we go. Okay. And we're going to continue. Oh, wait. But Ruthie Robles comes from Puerto Rico. And we know that in Puerto Rico, we honk a little different. Right, Ruthie? Ruthie, this is for you. That is how our roads sound. Because we Puerto Ricans like to express ourselves while driving. Right? Ruthie Robles.
Ruthie.
Ruthie. Okay, and we're going to continue in the chat. Captain Harris is in the house, and Captain Harris is also a Cabby. So we're just going to continue. Otherwise, this is going to take forever. So hold on. Oh my God, Helena Crystals. Honey, it's so good to see you. It's been so long.
It has been long.
Curious Georgie. Hold on. I got to have something Curious George. I have no idea why that, but that's what you get today, Georgie. Georgie. I need to have like a Curious George sound effect.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Say hello to anybody new while I'm scrolling.
Blooming Iris.
Blooming Iris. There we go. Blooming Iris.
Kevin Yonka from Texas is in the house.
Jana.
Hi, Kevin.
Jana just joined us. The Cabby clan is in the house. And
Victorine.
Victorine's in the house. We got laughter. Actually, that is.
Oh, that's good.
That reminds me of DJ. That one reminds me of DJ. And then we have a sarcastic laugh. That's our sarcastic laugh. Darkest Side. Oh my God, Darkest Side. I have to say, you might want to stick around for the outro because one of your ideas is making Hidden Symbols 3. It is. Because we already have our third ready to go. Yes. Victorine! Isn't there a song for Victorine? No, that's Tangerine. But I can turn it into Victorine. Victorine! Nobody wants to hear that. And Jen! Little Wifey? I'm just going to call her Little Wifey. He's like, he can't remember. No, I do remember, but I don't know which name you want to go by today. So we're just going to go with Little Wifey. Attorney at law. Little Wifey, attorney at law.
Oh,
okay,
Ewok is in the house.
Ewok is in the house. There we go.
No,
Ewok is in the house. I saw Blooming Iris in the house over there. I saw Sharon. Sharon!
Love you.
You like my Aussie? Sharon! There we go. And we're just really excited to be here, right, honey? Tell people how excited we are.
I am really excited. And you know, the way you just did that with Sharon, every time I see something pop up of DJs, like an icon, it's like, and I need to know where this is from. Hey, DJ. Do you know where that's from? Because I remember it from a
No, but
child. It's from a children's thing. And it's like, hey,
oh my God.
DJ.
You're not talking Cosby, Fat Albert, are you?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Let's not go there. Let's just talk about that later. Just kidding. We're not saying that at all because you're not Fat Albert, DJ. It was
Goonies.
the Jiffy, the meme. We were trying to identify the meme. That's a new game. Identify the meme. Oh, in Hides and Longgrass, one of our friends from the UFO side of the house is here. Hides and Longgrass. He's hiding.
Cut
We're
the
looking
grass
for
so we
him.
can see you.
We're
I
gonna
can't
find
see
you.
The grass is too
Stay
long.
alive! I will find you. Where's that one from? We all know what that's from because I did so well. Because me and what's his name? Left foot. What was his name? Last of the Mohicans. I will find you. Stay alive. I will find you. You guys are probably not here for us doing doing impressions. The Goonies. Somebody said the Goonies.
I
The
know.
Goonies. That's what the DJ.
I know. That
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, Law Wifey came up, I think, and then there's been a few saying Goonies, and it's just like, yes, guys, thank you, because since I met DJ, every time I see his icon come up on X, it's like I do this thing, hey DJ, and I'm like, where is it from? So you guys rock in the chat because I couldn't figure it out, and now I know. So perfect.
You're thinking, oh, Fat Albert.
It's not though. It's the Goonies woman. Get it right.
God. Okay, thank you. I got it right. And Law Wifey, thank you so much. You're so sweet.
You look lovely too today.
You look lovely, Law. Yeah, Law Wifey looks very mysterious.
Mystique.
Those mysterious.
Mystique. Yes.
Mystique.
Yeah. I feel a lot of Celtic from her. So look at
Feeling
there you go, Jonna. Woo-hoo, Celtic.
There you go, Celtic. Okay, so you guys, today we have 10 wonderful stories for you guys. And we're going to go one by one. We're going to be presenting them. And then we'll be talking about what's coming up next. We got a new episode coming, and we'll talk about that. We're really excited about that one, too. Each one is special in their own way. We don't have a preferred child. We like all of our shows equally. Okay, so should we get started? If you see anybody on chat that, just time me out, let me make sure that I pop them up because it's always good to say hi to everybody.
Absolutely. If we miss you, it's not intentionally if we happen to not see, but just, keep talking in the chat and we'll eventually see it. So
and Heights is asking if anybody's going to Kecksburg on Friday to Sunday. Maybe somebody in the chat. I'm not going to Kecksburg. I'm trying to plan an evening out of 3 hours in October. That's how deep the roots go of my attachment to. But Heights and Longgrass, if anybody is going to Kecksburg, please contact Heights and Longgrass.
Yes, maybe you can carpool. Call me.
Okay, so call me.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Everybody, what movie freaked you out? What movie is she talking about? What movie freaked you out, Sarah? Some movie freaked her out. Oh, they're talking about a movie. They're talking about a movie. They do that. If you're watching a movie, please share. But yes, so tonight we have 10 wonderful stories, and we're starting off. Should I get started with the first one?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I'm excited about this.
Because we've got 10, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So excited.
Yes. This one's a good one. I'm really excited about the one that I'm presenting first. We're getting started with a bang because we're getting started with too much media and too many windows. Silly problems to have. We're starting with, hold on. Toy Story. Toy Story, Pixar. Talk about conspiracies, man. Pixar's a good one. I was thinking about that for conspiracy show. Oh, why is there a video playing? Do you hear that?
Yeah, I do. Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, that's interesting. My phone just kicked off and started playing the show, even though I wasn't playing it. Hey,
That's
can you hear
weird.
me? Yeah, you can hear
Yes,
me. Okay. I'm
that's
like,
so
okay,
weird.
it's in this window. Okay. Toy Story. Let's start again. Toy Story. So the Pixar movies have so many symbols. There's so many little rabbit holes that you can go down. So Toy Story, November 1995. Let's talk about the positive themes. By the way, we are multi-streaming on Mindfork and Cosmic Carousel. If you like what you see, please hit like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever you want. Just stay tuned because we have a really good show going on today. So the positive themes, the power of loyalty and friendship, of course. Everybody knows it's like Buzz and Woody. At its core, the movie is a testament to the phrase, "You've got a friend in me." Everybody was quoting that at the time. It showcases a deep, enduring loyalty, not just between Woody and Buzz once they overcome their differences, because I love how they take you through that whole arc of their relationship, but the collective devotion the toys have for Andy and for each other. Identity and acceptance. Lightyear's arc is a beautiful metaphor for self discovery. Right? So he experiences a profound identity crisis, ontological shock. He was existential freak out. It's like, I'm a die, oh no. So when he realizes he is not a space ranger, but through the help of others, he learns that being a cherished toy is just as noble, valuable, and purposeful. And follow how this is going, right? Being a toy is okay. It's okay to not be in charge. And I think there's some themes around that they're doing on purpose. Woody's initial jealousy of Buzz triggers a disaster. It's like cooperation over competition. I think it's only when they stop competing for Andy's attention that they start working together, utilizing Buzz flying, falling with style and Woody's leadership, that they're able to achieve their goals. So they figure out, the power of teamwork, and those are great, great. I'm so excited that you're here, girl. Okay, so you're gonna pop up the messages, right? Cool. Sweet. Empathy and emotional growth. Woody goes from being a somewhat self-centered leader, consumed by status, to a selfless friend who risks everything to save Buzz. And we're right along with them on that friendship. It teaches that loving someone means being willing to share the spotlight. And then, those are the positive themes. Right? Peel that onion a little bit, shall we? With the hidden symbology that we find. The omnipresent eye of providence, the famous Pixar ball. And I actually, for this particular movie, I have an extra picture to show. The eye of providence. Oh, the ball is not on that one. So the eye of providence, the Pixar ball, is the yellow ball. I thought I had a yellow ball with the red star. It's got blue and red Pixar ball, makes its debut. Conspiracists often point out the prominent red star stamped on it as a nod to esoteric and occult symbolism. This here. The flaming star or pentagram, representing the hidden hand of the creators controlling the destiny of the created beings. So that whole puppeteering happening. If you want to say something, Sati, feel free to. You
Yeah,
good?
no,
You're
I'm like,
excited. I'm
I
like, I
am,
can.
I'm losing myself in the stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, so no problem. So the Gnostic metaphor, the demiurge, that actually shows up in Gnostic philosophy. The demiurge, am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, demiurge.
Yeah, demiurge is a lesser creator deity who keeps souls trapped in a material simulation.
Bum, 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 bum.
In Toy Story, Andy, yeah, go ahead and do the sound effects. That's really good. In Toy Story, Andy can be seen as this deity. The toys exist solely for his amusement. Their entire reality dictates that they must play dead when he enters the room. And their worth is literally branded into the soles of their feet, the Andy mark. And this is what this picture. The famous, now it all starts to hit totally different, right?
Oh, yeah.
All these guys are marked. It's about the Andy mark. They're trapped in a cycle of worshiping a creator who will eventually outgrow and abandon them. That's something. The shining carpet pattern. I didn't know this. In Sid's house. So this is freaking me out because I love Kubrick. I love Kubrick. So Sid's hallway carpet features the exact same distinct hexagonal geometric pattern as the carpet in the Overlook Hotel from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. And think about that. A kid's story, Toy Story. Because Kubrick's film is heavily tied to theories about hidden messages, including the faked moon landing. Theorists suggest Sid's house represents a psychological prison or a realm of ritualistic trauma, where the natural order of the toy world is violently inverted. Then Buzz Lightyear as the deluded initiate. This gets really interesting because it's like, this is a kid's story, people.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are enjoying this because this is just a trip to me.
It is so trippy.
So he's the deluded initiate, right? The Buzz Lightyear arrives completely brainwashed, believing a manufactured grand narrative about Star Command and the universe. This is kind of daunting when you actually say it, He is the ultimate symbol of a sleeper agent or an unawakened soul living in a matrix. His sudden realization of the truth in Sid's house leads to a breakdown. Depressed. Mrs. Nesbit. I love Mrs. Nesbit. These are completely goofy for that whole bit, which represents the classic Dark Night of the Soul. And the shattering, this is wild. And the shattering of ego required before true esoteric enlightenment can occur. So think about it. He's going through his own shift. And then we got the claw, the alien claw cult of mass mind control. The little green men inside Pizza Planet Crane Game are a textbook definition of a cult or a population under mass mind control. They blindly worship the claw, an external mechanized force that arbitrarily decides their salvation or destruction. They're completely institutionalized, unable to see that they are just prizes in a corporate. And that's Toy Story. Asati, what are you thinking here? I want anybody in the chat while we're doing this, I'm gonna look in here.
Oh yeah, guys, in the chat, if you have any comments or questions to add, please capitals. If you can do caps, that would be great. So Toy Story, there's a lot to unpack in that. And we've got, it sounds very political to me in the times we're in right now, no?
When you read it that way and the times that we're at, it's like, oh wow, we're not talking about Toy Story here. We're talking about more.
And then you've got the branding, which does happen.
Oh my God, it's Tim! All Things Unexplained is in the house, Tim!
Tim! Welcome.
Oh, good to see you. Anybody, this is All Things Unexplained. He has a great channel on YouTube. Go check it out. He is awesome. And he is going to be in our conspiracy panel that is coming up July 20th. We're going to be talking conspiracies, right, Tim? Thank you so much for being here. Anyway, sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to make sure I catch new people.
The other thing that I thought is interesting about this is when we talk about the dark night of the soul, because for those of us that are stepping into the shift into the higher frequencies, energy frequency and vibration, we all have to go through the dark night of the soul to clear everything that does not serve our highest good. And it can be hard. So that's why it's important to find somebody that we trust to be able to talk to and help us through those moments. But I love that it came up for Toy Story. And some of this stuff is going to be a similar theme with the other stories too. So it's very cool to see these things, because I gotta say, in researching the stories, some of them made me just shake my head. Like I was like, what? I didn't even realize that when I watched it years ago. Iris, blooming
I just
Iris.
say, going through friends
Yeah.
here. We got so many
Hi,
friends. Hey, there's
Kevin.
Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. I'm so glad you're here, honey.
Victorine. Victorine. Victorine.
My fellow Canucks are in the chat.
Yeah. So it is, especially Toy Story is setting such a high bar. And, you know, when you look at it, maybe Pixar should be its own show, because all the Pixar movies are all tied together.
Yes.
Like the messages in all of them totally go. They go together. All
Yeah.
of Pixar stories, like they left breadcrumbs everywhere in all the Pixar stories between each other. There's the theory about Boo from Monsters, like being, who was it that she was?
Wally.
Who is she? No,
Was it
Boo
what
from Monsters. It's supposed to be somebody from this. I'm
she
trying to
comes
remember.
he comes up in one of our I thought it was Wally. Uh
She comes up in
he's
multiple things. I'm trying to remember because they said that they thought that she was like somebody after they grow up, and they,
Yes, yeah. It's in one of the stories.
yeah,
And I can't remember which one, because we've done so much research for so many that I don't remember, but there is something that ties one of the stories we're going to share, I believe today, with
hmm
what we shared with Monsters Inc. Because you're right, it's something, a wooden carving or something is shown in one of the other stories of her. So yeah, oh yeah, Ruthie, Buzz
yeah.
Lightyear,
Let's read that. Yeah.
and the Buzz
So
Lightyear and Matrix analogy goes hand in hand. Like when Neo enters the Matrix to leave the world behind, Buzz. Yes,
yes.
exactly. And see the similarities in that. I mean, we
Mhm.
often find that so many of these stories are so
Um,
very similar. It's just characters that have changed, but there's a lot of similarity in the actual stories, which is crazy because they need to throw all this hidden stuff in. Right? Got to go
exactly.
into the subconscious.
It's there's so many messages that are being thrown at us in these movies. We just don't know. They're like subliminal messages the whole time. Disney
Absolutely.
movies have a history of hidden messages and meanings, some controversial. So this discussion is awesome. Just wait till we get to Fantasia, girl. It's like the top of the Disney. That is our
Yes.
last story of the night or the day. So,
Yes.
okay, are you ready to take us to our next
Oh,
one?
yeah.
Hold on. And next, go ahead.
We are going to talk about Bambi. We all love
What?
Bambi. Actually, the skunk was my favorite when I was a little kid, and I had a big, gigantic flower stuffed animal that my sister used to think was going to attack her at night because she was afraid it turned into the boogeyman, but flower never turned into the boogeyman. So, guys,
Mm-mm.
Bambi was created, if you don't know, in 1942. And this is such a special story. And as a young child, it leaves this incredibly deep, almost sacred impression on you because of how raw, how quiet, and how beautifully atmospheric it actually truly is. However, beneath the soft watercolor forest floor lies a very heavy, cyclical, and esoteric narrative. Surprise! I mean, really, guys? So we're going to go into the positive themes first, of course, because we gotta be positive. And we're going to talk about the sacred circle of life. Long before the Lion King sang about it, Bambi actually mastered the concept of the eternal cycle. So this film starts with a birth in spring, and it moves through the trials of summer and then into the harshness of winter, the devastation of fire, and then it ends exactly where it began, with the birth of new life. And it teaches us that change and loss are actually natural parts of a grander, more beautiful design. And if we can keep that in our head, I mean, it's so true, right? We have to see the full circle. So then we have the power of community and mentorship. Very important, both of these things, even in real life, okay? Bambi does not grow up in a vacuum. He has Thumper, the bunny rabbit, teaching him how to navigate the ice. Remember that when Bambi was like out on the ice and the legs just go out like this and he's like, you know, all over the ice on his belly. So yeah,
it was precious. All of them are precious.
I know. And then we have Flower, the skunk, who is my favorite, teaching him about gentleness. And then, of course, his mother, who is guiding his early steps. And that's what we do as moms. It highlights the beauty of a supportive tribe and how we all need community to grow and to evolve. So we do have in this movie some resilience in the face of grief, because we have the loss of Bambi's mother, which is very traumatic. You know, children watching this stuff, it made me cry.
Who did not? I mean, it was like a rite of passage to cry during this movie. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you know how traumatic that is for children watching these things, because fairly close to the beginning of some of these movies, something tragic happens, and then we as children are like, oh. And it just kind of imprints on us, you know, that feeling of loss, that feeling of abandonment.
Those original movies really. Somebody brought up Jenna brought up Dumbo, or Sarah brought up. Somebody brought up Dumbo, and that was one that's like when Dumbo's mom went. Oh my God! I'm like, I can't even think about it without getting kind of sick.
I know. I know. So we have the loss of Bambi's mom, and that is arguably one of the most famous and most heartbreaking moments in cinematic history. It truly is. So the movie, though, doesn't dwell in despair, as Bambi is forced to stand up and move forward and find the strength to survive, which many of us have to do in real life, right? When things happen in our life, we have to find the will to survive and get through it. So this story is a profound lesson in emotional resilience, I feel, for the young minds. And then we have the reverence for the natural world. This film is an artistic love letter to nature. So it teaches a deep empathy for wildlife, which I love, and all of you know, I'm all about that, where they're showing their emotions, they are showing their fears, and they're also realizing their tight-knit family structures, fostering a lifelong respect for the environment in everyone who watches it. And now, we're heading into the hidden symbology, because unfortunately, there is some. So we have first the unseen man. You see him in the background on the picture. And he symbolizes the Gnostic threat, the hidden Gnostic threat. And in Bambi, man obviously is the ultimate antagonist, but we never actually really see the man. We hear his gunshots, we see the smoke, and we feel a terrifying presence. And in esoteric and Gnostic thought, this represents the invisible ruling elite, or as I call them, the deletes of the planet, or the archons, the unseen cosmic forces that manipulate, terrorize, and here we go again, harvest the inhabitants of the material matrix from the shadows without ever revealing their true faces. This is kind of crazy. The great prince as the silent, aloof deity. Bambi's father, the great prince of the forest, is a fascinating figure in this movie. He is stoic, he rarely speaks, and he stays high up on the rocky cliffs and watches over the forest from a distance. He only descends when absolute tragedy strikes to tell Bambi that his mother can't be with him anymore. Or he shows up during any other crisis. This perfectly mirrors the archetype of Deus Otiosus, the hidden or distant god, who is a creator who watches from the heavens, demanding that his creations learn to navigate the harsh realities of the world on their own. So they got to figure it out, right? Just as we do sometimes. We don't always have the right people assisting us, and we figure it out. Mm-hmm. The Twitter-pated and the trap of biological automation. Spring arrives in the forest, and friend owl, the old wise owl, warns the young animals about becoming Twitter-pated, which is a state of being completely intoxicated by romantic infatuation. He described that, like, isn't this interesting, guys? In a children's movie, romantic infatuation, and they use the term Twitter-pated. Your heart is all a Twitter.
Oh, like that's like, oh, interesting.
So he describes it like a terrible curse, though, that robs you of your senses. And from a conspiratorial or philosophical lens, Twitterpation is the biological program of the Matrix.
Wait, yeah, that's a big one.
All right. It is the genetic trap designed to ensure the perpetuation of the species. And it strips the individuals of their logic and their autonomy to serve the grander cycle of the system. So I feel like sharks are circling. The sharks are circling in the forest. And then we come to the forest fire. And this is seen as a ritual purification. So you've got your alchemical alchemy with the fire as the ritual purification. And in the climax of the film, it involves a massive apocalyptic forest fire caused by none other than man's campfires. And in occult traditions, fire is the ultimate tool of the calcinatio, the alchemical process of purification by fire. The old cluttered forest must be violently burned away so that it can be reborn in a higher, more pure state. And Bambi must literally run through the flames and leap across the roaring chasm to survive his final initiation into manhood. It's kind of crazy. I wore my Phoenix Rising pendant today because of that. Because we have the rebirth coming out of the ashes, and which is the phoenix. Then we move into the horned god archetype, Cernunnos. And as Bambi grows, his antlers emerge. And by the end of the film, he takes his place atop the high peak. And he's looking at this point to be identical to his father. So in ancient pagan and Celtic mythology, the horned god, often known as Cernunnos, I can't even pronounce the name. You guys, is the Lord of wilderness, the Lord of the wilderness. hang on. So it's also the lord of virility and also the lord of the underworld. The movie is fundamentally a ritualistic passing of the crown, tracking the initiation of a young soul who internalizes the divine masculine archetype to become the new guardian of this earthly realm. So it turns out that this sweet little dear movie is more like a deep look into invisible rulers, biological programming, and ancient pagan mythology. And that is the breakdown of Bambi.
I still can't think about Bambi without getting all choked up, because I remember that was probably the first one where there was a big death. I want to say it's Bambi. Before, I wonder if Bambi or Dumbo, one of the two. They were both about the same time, and I remember when I saw them, it was like in the big theater with the red curtains, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And that moment, it's like it does something to children the first time they see something like that, like a death,
Absolutely.
so I do want to call out. We have some great comments.
There was another more recent movie. I think it was called Up.
Oh my God, I can't deal.
Crying up. Part of that, I was bawling. I'm just like, are you kidding me? You're going to start the movie like that?
It reminds me of every time I see Elephant Man. I start bawling at the beginning of Elephant Man, and when he says, "I'm not an animal, I'm a human being," I'm like, oh, so no. But Captain Harris is, my mom would say, "Let's go to the movies," and I would say, "Is anybody going to die in there?"
Oh.
Yeah, in the world of the disaster movies, because I think Captain Harris and I are about the same age. And so I won't go. And I was like 5 or 6. They took me to The Godfather. They took me to The Godfather. And then they gave me a Twix during the horse scene. So yes, they gave me Twix, and then I started a whole, weight issue of my whole life between Twix and popcorn every time I was taken to one of the disaster movies. Towering Inferno, Poseidon Adventure. Oh yeah, let's go take the girl. We'll take her with us. Anyway, sorry, I have moments. This is trauma. Kashi, if there's ever a part 2, maybe there can be a discussion on how messages have evolved over time. Girls and young women not being helpless or purely domestic, for example. Absolutely. I think there's definitely a place for that discussion. When I do movie nights, I show some clips, but we need to have an episode about this. We need to have like a panel.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And you know what is interesting too is, who's this, Sarah? We actually, on our Hidden Symbology Part 1, covered Hansel and Gretel. And Gretel was an incredible heroine in that movie. But I agree. We need to do just a show just on that kind of thing. I love the suggestion. So thank you.
I love that. And then it's random comments. This is making my nerdy heart do stuff. I love that. I have to call it out. Oh, I'm so excited. People are really liking this. Helena Crystals had a good comment too. It's like she's really excited. Up is so good, yes, but it makes me bawl like a little baby girl. It's
for that
crazy.
Movie, we need Kleenex. We need Kleenex.
Imagine all of us watching movies bawling. We would be like, that'd be like all you would hear. Ruthie says, my disaster movie was Lion King. Nice. Nice. Yeah, that is exactly the next story. I didn't mean that. I was like, oh my God, what a coincidence. Oh, Ruthie, why did you bring that one up? My disaster movie was Lion King. I remember watching Lion King before watching Bambi. Bambi was my mom's favorite. Lion King also had that death scene, which broke my heart. And I cry every time.
Yes.
Every single one of those movies took us to that dark place. That dark place that calls for Costco run tissues, chips, and prosecco.
Yes.
That is the perfect way to take one of these movie nights. Yes, Costco,
Absolutely.
tissues, chips, and prosecco. They also sell adult diapers, but hopefully you won't need that. No idea why I had to put that. Pivot to the next story. Should I go there? Since she set me up so nicely. Who's picking me up, says Law Wifey? We got you,
I will.
girl.
I got you. We're going to drive that road that you posted today, though. I got you, sister. I got
We
you.
got you. We got you. So next, like psychic little Ruthie predicted that we would be
I
talking about
know,
Lion King next. Did you
right?
notice? Did you catch that one? Because I
As
didn't
soon
put
as
the
I saw that,
order. I didn't
yeah,
put the order at the
no,
beginning, so it was
I
funny.
know.
So it was a
That's hilarious.
perfect segue. And Ruthie says, "Pick me up too. I'll bring the box of Merlot and prosecco. This will mix them all up." Oh my God. And then, hold on, before I go to Lion King, we got Tim saying, which one is he saying? I got too many windows, my friend. Hold on. He brought up Jaws. He raised it up to Jaws. And oh my God, yes, Jaws. Okay, I lived in Puerto Rico, Tim. Think about living where you go to the beach every weekend and you go see Jaws. Freaked
Can
out
you put
forever.
can you put Blooming Iris's comment up there too,
Hold on.
please?
Oh, hold on. Yeah. The Twix bars. Hold on. And your parents taking to see this movie's prepared you for
Yes.
the shift. Your parents knew.
Yes, right? I would like to think they knew, honestly,
They
but we
prepared
know.
us
At
for
least we
no, they
know.
prepared us.
I love
Wow.
that you
I've
said
never
that.
thought about it that way, Blooming Iris.
You're awesome, Blooming Iris. I love that you
I
included that
love
into the
that.
mix because that's a
If I miss
positive.
any comment, girl, make sure I pop them up. Okay. I don't
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
miss anybody because we got so many great comments going on right now. So, okay. So let's talk about Lion King, you guys. Hakuna Matata. So, Lion King's 1994. It is the absolute crown jewel of the Disney Renaissance. It is like Shakespeare's Hamlet meets biblical epic, wrapped in breathtaking animation and music. This story deals so heavily with kingship, bloodlines, and the cosmic order. The hidden symbology here isn't just a fun side note. It runs deep into ancient Egyptian mysticism, solar deities, and psychological archetype. Positive themes, accountability and divine destiny. Simba's entire journey is about running away from his problem. Hakuna Matata. And we're going to have a whole discussion. Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata.
Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Only to realize that true freedom doesn't come from avoidance. Got a deal. The movie teaches you that running from your past is a temporary fix. Healing and growth require you to face it. Claim your place. This is so awesome. This is so true. And take responsibility for your community. Facing it is how you learn. This is how you grow. Avoiding it is how you get stalled. No growth. So, aren't you proud of me? I'm just
I
kidding.
am.
The interconnected circle of life. It's the circle of life. I quote that all the time. Do I think about the meaning? Most of the things I quote, I don't. Mufasa gives Simba a profound lesson on ecology and humility. He explains that even though lions eat the antelope, they eventually die and become the grass that the antelope eat. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful message about balance, respect for all living things, and understanding that no one, not even a king, is above the natural order. Interesting. The power of memory and legacy. He lives in you. One of the most emotionally resonant themes is that our loved ones nearly or never truly leave us. That is so true. Their teachings, their love, and their impact are woven into our DNA and our choices. Simba carries Mufasa's legacy forward, proving that death cannot destroy this righteous bond. And mentorship and spiritual guidance. Rafiki serves as the ultimate spiritual guide. He doesn't just give Simba the answers. He uses tough love and a swift stick to the head to show him it's just like in Puerto Rico, the chancleta. You know how that goes, Ruthie. So their teachings, their love, and their impact are woven. Okay, hold on. Yes, mentorship to show him that the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Again, another really important message. Learn. Don't just set it aside. But then there's the hidden symbol. Now we're getting to Egyptian stuff. This is the stuff I just live for. Osiris, Isis, and Horus mythos. Occult researchers heavily align the Lion King with the ancient Egyptian Osirian myth cycle. Mufasa is Osiris, the wise, benevolent king of the Golden Age who is betrayed and murdered by his jealous brother. Scar is Set, the dark, envious god of chaos, deserts and storms, who usurps the throne and plunges the kingdom into barren darkness. Simba is Horus, the rightful heir who must exile himself, come of age, and return to avenge his father and reclaim the throne. Restoring cosmic balance, Mot. So the solar cult versus the lunar cult. So now we're getting into some deep, messaging. The film is visually built on solar worship. Bright Rock is bathed in a golden, blinding sun, representing light, order, truth, and the divine masculine. Mufasa explicitly states that a king's time rises and falls like the sun. Scar, conversely, is heavily associated with the night, shadows, and the moon in green subterranean volcanic fire. This represents the eternal esoteric battle between the solar initiates, the bringers of light, and the lunar Saturnian shadow organizations who rule through scarcity and chaos. Interesting stuff. Rafiki is the shamanic high priest. I mean, they're all the archetypes are here of ancient times, right? He isn't just eccentric baboon. He is a traditional tribal shaman or hierophant. He lives in the baobab? I don't know how to pronounce it. Baobab tree, the cosmic tree of life. Reads signs in the wind and uses anointing oil and red dust to open Simba's third eye.
Oh, look what we have here.
Oh my God.
Oil for the third eye.
Oil for the third eye. You got to get it.
Got some frankincense. Got some
frankincense. Get your frankincense, ladies and gentlemen. He is the only character. Oh, wait. When he paints a lion cub on the tree, he's like releasing that third eye. He's performing a ritualistic tracking of a soul's evolution. He is the only character who can communicate directly with the spirit realm. And Mufasa in the clouds. Then the elephant graveyard as the underworld. It's all right there. It's crazy. The elephant graveyard is literally a wasteland of dry bones outside the boundaries of the light. In esoteric Kabbalah, this resembles the underworld, the realm of unbalanced forces, shells, and chaotic waste. It is ruled by the hyenas, who act as base parasitic entities that devour everything but produce nothing. When Scar brings them into power, he disrupts the natural order, causing the entire ecosystem to collapse into a barren wasteland. Isn't that wild? Is DJ in the house? DJ!
Hey, DJ!
Can we get an amen? Hold on, I got to do something and then I'll continue because now we're going to talk about Hakuna Matata. But when DJ joins the chat, we got to go. The DJs are in the house. The cabbies are in the house with DJ at the helm.
Amen.
Okay, and Hakuna Matata. This is going to get interesting. Matrix pacification. Well, no worries sounds like a beautiful, stress free philosophy. Conspiracists view the jungle oasis where Simba lives with Timon and Pumbaa, the spiritual sedation matrix. Simba eats bugs, a degradation of his royal predatory nature, and forgets his identity,
Yep.
his father, and his duties. This is a metaphor of the modern comfort trap pacifying the warrior spirit with cheap pleasures, entertainment, and a diet of slimy yet satisfying distractions. So they never realize their true divine heritage and power. So in this case, and I want to present two scenarios of Hakuna Matata. So it turns out that singing about no worries is actually a deep lesson on avoiding spiritual stagnation, while the whole story maps perfectly into 4,000-year-old Egyptian temple mystery. So my question is, is it? I always thought of Hakuna Matata being like Hakuna Matata. Like I leave my worries behind. I don't panic. I don't freak out. I don't have anxiety. I just let it flow. I was thinking more like Taoism than the Matrix. But at the same time, I see where it's like an empty win in the place where they're living because they're avoiding everything. And if you avoid, you don't grow. So talk me through that one a little bit, honey, because that
Wow.
one
I
I'm
think
wondering what you think.
that you just said it. What else can I add to what you just said? How you described that was perfect. And I thought the same thing when I watched it years ago when my kids were young and Lion King came out. I thought Hakuna Matata was just so chill. And me being that like chill kind of hippie kind of person, it's just like Hakuna Matata. And I used to like bop around singing that song. I'd bop in the living room, I'd bop in the kitchen, Hakuna Matata. And now it's like, what? It's like hard stop. What's going on? They're
Yeah, that
shaking
now.
it up. They're shaking it up. And I got to tell you too about the insects, how Simba had to forget. So, that they messed with his head,
Mhm,
probably through MK Ultra or whatever that was, got him to forget the things that were important. But
mhm.
we have heard this before recently, the last number of years where we have somebody in real life saying, well, you're going to start eating bugs and you're going to like it.
Mm.
I'm just saying, isn't that funny how this comes up in this movie? And now we have
Mhm.
someone saying that in real life. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
It,
Um, yeah, it's
how
really
much how much this relates in a weird like an analogy of some of the stuff that is happening could be happening. We'll talk more about that at the conspiracy roundtable.
yeah,
But I'm
absolutely.
sure that's going to come up. But it's like how much you see the parallels between
Mhm.
what's behind some of these stories, as you really start to peel the onion and what's going on today. And again, these
Yes.
things, they're all predictors, right? They're predictors of the future. You see so much in Hollywood that they tell you. And
Mhm.
it's like the chicken or the egg, right? In a world of manifestation, are they telling you or are they making it happen? It gets
Oh,
real trippy because it's like, are they
boom.
predicting it or are they making it happen because they're planning it in all our heads? And if it's planning in all our heads, then it's going to manifest to reality because we live in a manifested world, right?
You are wow. I'm so proud of you. That's
Thank you.
incredible.
That's
Yeah,
real growth.
that is
That's real
what
growth. Just
that's
kidding.
like, whoa, that's amazing.
But
But
that's
you're bang on. And the okay, so if we look at it this way, when we watch something and you're one person watching it, and then you add hundreds of thousands or millions of people to watching the same thing. When you read something like, let's say, scripture, okay, doesn't matter what kind of scripture, but you read the scripture, guess what's happening, guys? These things happen in real life because the more people that pay attention to this, the more that's manifested into our reality. So they were counting on that. And then I look at things like that now in scripture where people are saying, oh my gosh, the prophecies are coming true. And I'm like, the prophecies are coming true because so many people are reading that stuff. And those that wrote the scripture, if we ever go down that rabbit hole, then you know that they had that plan all along, that they knew humans were going to manifest these things into reality just by reading it. And that's literally the way of the universe and the world, because we are master manifestors. So yeah.
Yeah, and they know that. And
Yes.
they know that. And the mind is a prize because the mind creates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we're using it to manifest, therefore if they own our minds, they own our manifestation, they own reality itself. So, and I'm seeing a lot of predictive programming. Absolutely.
Yes.
So we had Helena Crystal's predictive programming. Bam. Right on everybody. Any questions on Lion King? I mean, I love it's such a great story. It taught us, it taught us a lot, and obviously taught us more than we even knew it was teaching us.
Absolutely.
We just didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we
when we can take any story, when we see the positive in it, without seeing any of the negative, I like that option better. Obviously, because we don't normally realize how much is being put into our subconscious with the things that we don't see. And then when we look back on these things that we watched as children, or we showed our children and we watched it with them, it's pretty crazy to see and learn all of these things that are happening right now. Where did you go, Chris? We lost Chris. So yeah, oh, there she is. She is back.
It kicked me out of my own studio.
What the heck?
I don't know what happened. I got kicked out of my studio. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
That will not do.
You kept going.
No, this is perfect. I think we'll move
for the next one.
We will move on.
We are ready for the next story. Who Sati's presenting? Go ahead, darling. I'm going to pop it up.
All right. We have Rumplestilskin. This is a story that I remember so well from my childhood. And I remember thinking as a child, this is messed up. I remember that. I remember looking at my mom and thinking, this is messed up. Like, why do you want me to watch this? So this came out in 1812. And it's a Grimm's fairy tale, and it's deeply creepy. Hence the reason why, as a child, I looked at my mom and I'm just like, I don't understand this. This is kind of, this kind of strays away from all those fun things that I was watching. So when we watch it or reading it as a child, it leaves a very eerie, lingering feeling because it deals with something incredibly predatory, transactional, and subterranean. However, beneath the bizarre little man, Rumpelstiltskin, stomping his feet in the dark in an absolute gold mine of ancient wisdom, spiritual warnings, and economic allegories, we are going to bring to you the positive themes, if you will. So
there is positive in Rumpelstiltskin, even though he's that creepy. Go ahead.
I don't think there's a whole lot. So we have the danger of false pride and boasting. So some egoic stuff. And, you guys that know me know what ego means. I've said it a lot, edging God out when we're operating too much out of ego. So this entire conflict starts because a miller brags to a king that his daughter can spin straw into gold just to make himself look important. The story is a timeless warning against vanity and telling tall tales. And the miller's lies puts his own daughter's life in absolute jeopardy. And then we have the true value of a child. right? Because there's a lot of value in this. And in the end, when the miller's daughter becomes queen and she's incredibly wealthy, Rumpelstiltskin demands her firstborn child. She offers him all of the riches in the kingdom, but he refuses, stating to her, "Something living is dearer to me than all of the treasures of the world." So it highlights that human life and love are infinitely more valuable than physical gold or status. And we have the power of truth and naming in this. We have the ultimate victory that comes when the queen finally discovers Rumpelstiltskin's true name. Now, guys, there's a more recent movie called Beetlejuice that is very similar to this when the name Beetlejuice's name was discovered. So I just wanted to throw that in because that's when I did the research for this. It's like I kept thinking
he's very Beetlejuicy. He's very
right?
Beetlejuicy, right? Yeah.
Yes. So she discovers Rumpelstiltskin's true name. And in a moral sense, this teaches that the only way to conquer a hidden fear or a toxic habit or a shadowy threat is to look it directly in the face, identify it exactly for what it is, and call it by its true name. And once the truth is spoken, the illusion loses all power over you. So many of you that have had conversations with me know that I talk about this in real life because we have to face our demons. We have to face anything dark, and we look it dead in the eye. And when we call it out, we rid it and cancel that energy away from us so it no longer can affect us. So it's kind of interesting that this is coming up in this movie, this story. Then we move on to the hidden symbology. And we have, again, the alchemical great work or the spiritual transmutation. Because in alchemy, when we turn base metals into gold, it actually represents the purification of the soul. Okay. So the straw represents the common, the chaotic, and the material thoughts of humanity. But Rumpelstiltskin acts as a dark alchemist or an elemental spirit, a gnome or an earth entity who possesses the hidden occult knowledge required to transmute the mundane, and in this case, that is the straw, into divine light, and in this case is the gold. So the straw into gold, we can think of the central banking allegory that we're faced with in real life. So from a modern conspiratorial lens, spinning straw into gold is the perfect metaphor for the fiat currency and the central banking. Interesting, right? Mm-hmm. So we have a king who represents the state ruling elite, and they are perpetually greedy and demanding wealth out of nothing. Rumpelstiltskin represents the hidden shadow bankers who possess the magic to create money out of thin air. So printing paper is equivalent to spinning straw. But this magic isn't free. It comes with a devastating generational debt. And then we're moving into the soul contract and blood sacrifice in this story. Every time that Rumpelstiltskin helps the girl, the transactions become more sinister for him. First, she gives up her necklace. Then she gives up her ring. And finally, she is forced to sign away her firstborn child. And this, to me, is a classic depiction of a demonic pact or an elite blood sacrifice contract. The shadow forces will grant you material wealth, fame, and a crown in the material matrix. But the ultimate price is always the harvesting of the next generation's innocent energy. And that's part of the reason that the star seeds are here in this life right now, guys, is to clear those ancestral lines so that this stops happening in the real life stuff. And we're moving on to the esoteric magic of the true name. So in ancient mystery schools, and we're going into Egyptian magic again, Heka, knowing the true secret name of a deity, a demon, or person gave you absolute spiritual command over them. Rumplestilskin is an entity operating completely from the shadows of the subconscious mind. And by sneaking into his woodland ritual and learning his name, the queen breaks his energetic tether to her. Yay, girl, you go. And then we have, I know, right? The Saturnian self-destruction, or the split. So when the queen states his name, Rumpelstiltskin, he flies into a demonic rage. And in the original Grimm's version of this story, he stomps his right foot so deep into the earth that it sinks up to his waist. So think quicksand. And in his fury, he takes his left leg with both hands and literally rips himself in two. This is happening in the Grimm story. He literally rips himself in two. And esoterically, this actually represents the ultimate fate of evil and the Saturnian archetype. It is fundamentally unstable and ungrounded. When it's exposed to the high vibe frequency of truth, the shadow cannot handle the exposure and literally implodes, consuming and destroying itself. Well, that's fantabulous. It works if they destroy themselves, and we don't have to. And so I just would like to say, I find it mind-blowing how a story about a creepy little man spinning straw is actually a warning about selling your soul for material gain and the tricks of central banking and the ancient occult magic of our words. So we got to be careful the words we use, because it's spelling. It's right in the word, right? And that is your breakdown on Rumpelstiltskin. What do you guys think?
That one creeps me out. That story's been around for so long, but you see that story over and over again in as the storyline for so many of these, where nothing comes for free. You sell your soul. If you go for fast gain, there's a price to be paid. And I mean, they definitely wanted us to know that, right? So at the same time, it's like, I do believe that. You don't, if you mess around with certain things, you're going to pay the price. You don't get, anyway, so it's just, it's fascinating. And it's just such a creepy story that I didn't, that one wasn't big in Puerto Rico when I was young. So that one I wasn't as familiar with, except for the later versions of it.
Yeah, it's insane. It is a really insane story. And I mean, back, what was it, 1812? 1812. We think about that. I mean, very dark and twisted. And we've seen, like you were saying, Chris, a lot of stories that have come out with similar ideas that are floating around. And again,
I was thinking Willy Wonka, right? It's like he reminds me a little bit of the kind of the creepy Willy Wonka. It's like not that they weren't both creepy, because they were both very, very twisted. Versions of Willy Wonka movies were crazy, but the fact that nothing comes for free. You go get the candy, blows up into a blueberry, and there's always a price to be paid. The guy that drowns in chocolate. So Helen Christmas, they were putting issues in the Corey storylines, and I don't know the Corey story.
I don't either.
I don't know those. So we need more information on the chat. Before things were happening in real life for years, a bit like The Simpsons. So I don't know that one. That must be like a UK thing.
Yes, but I love that you brought that up, Helen, because it's so true. We look at things coming up in The Simpsons, we think of things in Family Guy and South Park, and holy moly, they have a lot of predictive programming happening there. In my
They've
opinion.
told us. They've told us.
They know
They've
all the
told
false
us
flags
the whole time. But isn't that the thing, though? They have to tell you.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, they
They
do.
have.
They have
That's the thing, right? I mean, they
it's
have to
really
tell
okay.
you.
Absolutely.
Whatever's happening, it's being told. You just don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, that'd be silly. That'd be crazy. And then Sarah Yasati, much like the Harry Potter series, where people won't say Voldemort, or and Harry always does.
Yeah,
So,
I always do. I call them out
yeah.
all the time, Sarah. Absolutely. I love Harry Potter. That is a series I would love to go down.
Oh, that would be a fun deep dive on Harry Potter. Just Harry Potter series would sound. Okay. Are we ready for the next one?
Oh, yeah.
Where is it? Where Mama? Hold on. Oh, there he is. Pinocchio! I get Pinocchio. I get Pinocchio. Here we go. Pinocchio. The lovely story of Pinocchio. Pinocchio. Oh, hold on. I want to see what Helen has to say about Corey. Corey. It is a UK thing.
Coronation Street
is a down-to-earth series. Close to real. So you know this? Close to real life.
My dad loved Coronation Street. He watched it every day, even like in Canada, because he was British, and he absolutely loved it. And so this is taking me back, Helen. I love it. It is definitely a UK thing.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it. So, oh my God. And then, oh my gosh, if you guys do a deep dive, I'm Harry Potter. My little nerdy heart will be so happy. I'll be best friend forever. Love
We're going to do it.
Yes, we're going to have to do it after that. Of course.
Yes.
And Sarah, if you're not programmed into my phone, the call goes, oh, that's a personal message. Sorry. Now we all know, Captain Harris, that the call goes straight to voicemail. No spam calls. Okay. Next story. It is Pinocchio, 1940. This is an absolute masterpiece. And I love the art in this thing.
Oh, I know.
And it's wildly considered by occultists and researchers to be one of the most intensely symbolic stories ever adopted by Disney. What many people don't know is that the author of the original 1883 book, Carlo Collodi, was an active Italian Freemason. Because of this, the entire story is structured exactly like an ancient mystery school initiation. So the positive themes: the development of conscience. Jiminy Cricket represents Pinocchio's externalized conscience. The film beautifully shows that we aren't born with a perfect moral compass. It is something we must actively listen to, develop, and choose to follow when temptation knocks. The definition of being real. This is where it gets really trippy. Right? To become a real boy, the blue fairy tells Pinocchio he must prove himself brave, truthful, and unselfish. The movie teaches that being truly human isn't about physical form. It is a state of character earned through virtue, sacrifice, and love. The power of redemption. Even after Pinocchio messes up, repeatedly lying, skipping school, going to Pleasure Island, doing whoever knows at Pleasure Island, we know what he did. He is never completely abandoned. The story shows that no matter how far away you stray, you can always turn things around by taking responsibility and making amends. That's straight up Bible stuff. And it's like, this is like, ask for forgiveness, you pray, you'll be forgiven. But you have to, ask for redemption. Unconditional parental love. Geppetto or Geppetto? Geppetto.
Geppetto.
Geppetto. Geppetto's love for Pinocchio is absolute. He risks his life, braving the open ocean and being swallowed by a literal monster just to find his lost creation. It highlights the lengths a parent will go to protect and rescue their child. So those are the positives. Now let's look at the more hidden. Okay? The prima materia and the Masonic ashlar. In alchemy and Freemasonry, a person begins their spiritual journey as a rough ashlar in uncarved stone or prima materia, raw, unrefined matter. Pinocchio starts as a literal block of wood. Geppetto acts as the grand architect, the master mason, shaping this raw material, shaping this raw material into form, but he cannot give it a soul. The etymology of Pinocchio. In Old Tuscan dialect, Pinocchio translates to pine nut. And esoteric researchers point out that the pine nut is a seed of the pine cone, which has been the universal symbol for the pineal gland, the third eye, and the seat of the soul across ancient Egyptian, Roman, and Masonic iconography. Think about the pine cone. They're always showing up. They're always carrying this pine cone. It's like there it is reflected in Pinocchio. The story is literally named after the awakening of spiritual vision. And the blue fairy as the divine feminine, Isis or Sophia.
Yeah.
I just looked up, also good in pesto. Yes, also good in pesto, because the pine nut is a rock star. So the blue fairy descends from the evening star, Sirius, the blazing star of occultism. Occultism. I didn't talk today. She is the Gnostic Sophia, or the Egyptian goddess Isis, the keeper of divine wisdom, who breathes temporary life into the material puppet, kickstarting his spiritual evolution. Can only kickstart it. It's going to have to earn it. Stromboli in the world of illusion. Stromboli, I love saying Stromboli. The sinister puppeteer represents the dark forces of the material world. He looks Pinocchio in a cage, or locks Pinocchio in a cage and tells him he is only valuable as a puppet to make money. Again, kind of like we just saw in the Rumplestilskin, where she was like, doing stuff for him. So trapped by string. Well, hold on. This is a classic metaphor for the financial matrix. This is important because we've been talking about the financial matrix, and it comes up in all these stories. For the financial matrix, being a slave to economic systems, trapped by strings you don't control, and performing for the amusement of the elite. That sound familiar, anyone? Could we be Pinocchio? I'm a real boy. And Pleasure Island and degeneration into beasthood. Pleasure Island. I mean, I talk about that. That does remind me of Beetlejuice. It's like his little club, right? There's always this, and Peter Pan, with
Peter
the
Pan.
Lost
Yeah,
Boys
that's what I was
Peter
just going to say.
Pan,
Peter Pan.
there's always this place, right? Sodom, Gomorrah, you call it whatever. Pleasure Island, degeneration into beasthood. Pleasure Island is a textbook warning against the degradation of human consciousness. The boys are given absolute freedom to smoke, drink, fight, and destroy property, catering entirely to their lower animalistic instincts. They abandon their intellect and conscience for base pleasure. They literally transmute backward into donkey, beasts of burden. In occult thought, if you do not master your passions will master you, and you turn into a slave. And this is what we're starting to see in this lovely story. The Jonah allegory and the alchemical Negredo. Negredo? To save his father, Negrado. This with an E. We'll see. To save his father, we'll see. Negrado, potato. Say
Tomato,
whatever
tomato.
way you want. Tomato. Bite me.
Tomato.
To save his father, Pinocchio must jump into the abyss of the ocean and be swallowed by Monstro the whale. This perfectly mirrors the biblical story of Jonah and the alchemical phase called Negredo, or whatever. The The blackmailing death of the ego. The blackening death of blackmailing. The blackening, see where my head is. I'm already a conspiracy. Blackening
Ooh,
death of the ego. Inside the dark belly of the beast, Pinocchio undergoes a ritual. He escapes, creating fire, spiritual light, willpower, and dies rescuing Geppetto. He died. And then the ultimate initiation, the rebirth. Because the ultimate sacrifice, Pinocchio undergoes a mystical resurrection. He wakes up in his bed, no longer bound by wood or strings. He has completed the great work, magnum opus. He has elevated his consciousness from a base, reactive, manipulated puppet into a fully realized, enlightened, real. The wild story about a puppet with a growing nose is actually a step-by-step manual on how to liberate the human soul from the material matrix. It is a triple story because
yeah.
it's totally like rebirth, reincarnation, back to Yeshua. It's like we're back to the same stories again, the rebirth, and in this case, we're seeing it in a puppet, and he proved his worth.
And soul's growth. I mean, you step into it, you do what you need to do, and then you go from the caterpillar, which is Pinocchio, the wooden boy, to the cocoon phase when he's going through the death process, and then, the phoenix rising and stepping into being I'm a real boy now.
I'm the real boy. I love that one from.
I was so excited when I saw that as a kid, and it was just like, oh, I remember, like I literally feel the reaction that I had when he became a real boy, and it was just so delightful. It was like, oh my gosh, like after all of this, he gets to be a real boy.
He gets to live, and
yeah.
Again, it's like he's proving it is all about. Again, Pleasure Island. It's a waste of time. Anything that's like about carnal pleasures and it's material world is not the one that pays.
Well, they're your detour.
But
those are your detour on your soul's evolutionary path. So you go and you hit places like that and Neverland and all of these. It's taking you into a detour instead of keeping you on the path that you need to be on. But some people have to go through that. I've been through many detours in my life, and they were all necessary for the growth. But great story.
Great story. So we're going to the next one. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. So guys.
Are you guys ready?
Guess what we're doing? Popeye the Sailor Man. I love it.
Popeye, the story of Popeye.
Yeah. Did you guys know that this Popeye was created in 1929? I'm blown away by the dates and the years. 1929.
100-year-old story.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So this series, which I loved as a kid, has that gritty, old school kind of Depression era charm, but the dynamic between the characters is truly timeless in this. So when we strip away the cartoon dust, Popeye isn't just a cartoon about a sailor who punches people after eating a can of spinach greens. It's an incredible reflection of mid-20th century cultural engineering, working class philosophy, and some very wild archetypal symbolism. So we do have some positive themes in this. And Popeye, if any of you have ever watched it, he used to say always, I am what I am. He had very poor English and verbiage, but that was okay because he was authentic, and self-acceptance is what he was all about. So his famous catchphrase, what I just said, I am what I am, is the ultimate lesson in authenticity. He isn't at all polished. He doesn't speak with perfect grammar, and he isn't conventionally handsome. but he is entirely comfortable in his own skin. And that is what I loved about Popeye, because he was just like, this is me and deal with it. And if you don't, too bad. I love me. And I love that he loved himself that way, because that is selfless. So he teaches every one of us to embrace our own flaws, to know our own worth and value, and to never pretend to be someone else to just please society, because we don't want to do that. Stay true to who we are. The societal norms don't matter. We want to step outside of that box all the time if we can. So we have the power in the Popeye story of nutrition and vitality. Go figure. I loved spinach when I was a little kid because of Popeye.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any other kid that liked it, but I did. So long before modern wellness trends, Popeye was the original ambassador for healthy eating by turning a bitter leafy green vegetable, spinach, into a literal superpower. And the show subliminally taught generations of children that what you put into your body directly correlates to your strength, your energy, and your resilience against life's bullies. So we all need to be resilient against life bullies. And what a beautiful thing, because in all the other cartoons that I watched as a kid, none of them taught you how to eat healthy. You know, like they didn't teach you that. They didn't teach you to love yourself and be okay in your own skin. So that's kind of what stood out for me with Popeye. We have the defense of the vulnerable, which is something I have stepped into all of my life. As a kid in the schoolyard, I never, ever would be okay with anybody bullying anyone. And I would take care of that because it was not okay. So we have the defense of the vulnerable, which is really important. And we should all be cognizant of that even now. So Popeye is the quintessential working class hero. He doesn't use his strength to oppress other people, but he uses it exclusively to protect olive oil, to protect sweet pea, or anyone else is being taken advantage of by larger tyrannical forces. So he represents the noble warrior spirit that is used for justice, which I love. Absolutely. And we have perseverance in this against overwhelming odds as we watch these stories. No matter how badly Bluto beats him down or how impossible the situation ever seems, Popeye never gives up. He endures the struggle and he finds always his source of power and pushes through to the finish line. So it's a core lesson for us in pure, true grit. Just get through it. Then we're going to move into none other than the hidden symbologies in this. And you'll find some of it interesting. And Akashi brought it up in Pinocchio. So we have a cast of characters that surrounds Popeye, maps perfectly into corporate propaganda, psychological archetypes, and societal codependency. Never okay to be codependent. The great spinach psyop is also referred to as the mathematical glitch. Oh, interesting, right? Why spinach? In conspiracy circles, Popeye is viewed as a highly successful piece of agriculture predictive programming. And in 1870, a scientist named Erich von Wolf misplaced a decimal point when recording the iron content of spinach and accidentally made it look 10 times more nutritious than it actually was, just by misplacing a decimal point. So even though the mistake was corrected, the narrative stuck. And
Wow.
Isn't that cool? I know. I think it's so cool. So theorists suggest that the cartoon was heavily promoted during the Great Depression of World War II. And as a low-cost food propaganda tool, you get a starving public to enthusiastically eat cheap canned greens to sustain a labor and a military force. So that is what was behind all of that, is to provide people enough energy to keep going, to work and to be in the military, to fight in the war. So we also have...
That just freaking pisses me off. I hate to quote Erin Brockovich, Julia Roberts, Erin Brockovich. Well, that just pisses me off. Right? Not even going to say the F word. Go ahead. That pisses me off.
It's so true. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. So we have Popeye. Think of it this way, the spelling of his name as the fully initiated Popeye, the middle I. The esoteric researchers pointing out the linguistic breakdown of his name, Popeye or Papa-I, or the all-seeing eye is what that refers to. So if you notice in this series of Popeye, he is always squinting one eye shut. So it's always like, he's like got the
pipe. He's always like
one eye shut. And that is, of course, as we know, we see many celebrities doing it, the one eye, covering one eye. And that's occult symbolism, which is representing closing the physical eye to open the third eye, the pineal gland. And, in the story before, we were talking about the pine cones, right? That the pine cones are the pineal reference. So his strength doesn't just come from physical food. It comes from an inner spiritual awakening that allows him to see through illusions and tap into infinite primordial energy whenever his back is against the wall. We have Bluto, or Brutus, as the Saturnian material demiurge. So he represents the unrefined, chaotic, animalistic lower nature of man, low vibrational frequency. We really need to try and pull him up a little bit. But his brute force, and always operating out of ego and jealousy and physical dominance without intellect or spirit, all very low vibrations. We don't want to be operating out of any of those. But he rules through fear and intimidation because he's a big guy, right? So he likes to dominate. In the grand cosmic theater, Bluto represents the heavy, restrictive matrix that's trying to crush the spiritual initiate, which is, in this case, Popeye, and claim the divine feminine for himself, which is olive oil in this story. So it's really, really interesting to me. I think of dark beings on this planet that try to claim, and they're the narcissists and the gaslighters and all of that always want the fair maiden for themselves, and she doesn't realize she's a divine goddess or divine feminine. So this kind of plays into all of that. Now, talking about that, I'm going to bring olive oil as the fractured divine feminine in here, because she is very fractured. She doesn't realize her worth. So she's very fascinating, polarizing, and she is perpetually fickle and easily tricked by Bluto's superficial displays of wealth or power. And she's constantly crying out, "Help, Popeye," or "Help, Bluto." So she's kind of, in the middle, allowing them to do a tug of war with her. And she's just playing the defenseless woman here, whoever will give her the attention at the time. So it's whoever has the upper hand at the time for her. In psychological terms, she is actually representing the ungrounded, the human soul that is trapped in the material world and constantly bouncing between its lower animalistic desires, which is Bluto, and its higher moral conscience, which is Popeye. And we have here something that you brought up, Chris, in Pinocchio. We have Wimpy and the fiat debt trap. And Wimpy always says, you think Wimpy's Burgers, my Canuck friends will know Wimpy's Burgers. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. J. Wellington Wimpy is the ultimate symbol of fractional reserve banking and consumer debt. He is an educated, well-dressed elite, always wearing a tuxedo coat and a bowler hat, who has succumbed to his base of gluttony. He lives entirely on credit, promising future labor Tuesday for instant gratification today, the hamburger. So he is a walking warning about inflation, systemic laziness, and the economic slavery of living beyond our means. What is this? Wimpy created the buy now, pay. Yes, Sarah. I love
layaway.
it.
Remember the layaway or the IOU or,
Yes, absolutely.
And credit cards. Let's get into debt, everybody.
Yeah.
Just be like Wimpy because he's wimpy. Go ahead.
And I need the burger now and I don't have the money now. So I'll pay you Tuesday, maybe.
Hey, yeah.
And then we have Sweet Pea, who is absolutely adorable, as the genetic commodity. So Sweet Pea is the baby left on Popeye's doorstep. So think about that. A baby left on Popeye's doorstep. That's how Sweet Pea came into the scenario on Popeye. And this baby wears a nightshirt that completely covers his legs, making him look almost like a chrysalis or a crawling grub. He wanders into dangerous construction zones and lion cages, always completely oblivious to danger, yet always miraculously surviving the danger. It's hilarious. If you guys got to check it out if you haven't seen it, because they're hilarious. So in conspiratorial lore, Sweet Pea represents the completely asleep, unawakened masses or infantile that is walking blindly through a highly dangerous engineered environment, completely dependent on the hidden protection of the initiated elite to stay alive. It turns out Sweet Haven is a wild socioeconomic experiment where one guy is living on infinite credit, another is a brute force dictator, and the third has his third eye opening because he's eating canned vegetables to just keep the soul of humanity from being kidnapped. And I love that part. So that is the breakdown of Popeye. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Such a great story. And I didn't really get into Popeye as much.
Okay.
But as you look at only because of availability. Like it wasn't a cartoon like Flintstones and Jetsons was everywhere.
Yes.
But the story of Olive and what a victim Olive kind of allowed herself to be between, Pluto and,
absolutely.
we're saying he's so self-assured that we think that Popeye is hot. That is what the Mind Fork chat has decided, that Popeye is hot. Actually, I said it, and they agreed with me. But we have a couple of comments, though. We got A9 Mind Help, one of the first cartoons with tats and happy to be himself. Pretty cool. It's like he was rough, but, he was a survivor. You always saw Popeye as a survivor. He's just like, suck it up, people. We can be okay.
Yeah. And I just love how chill he was about, I am what I am.
Yeah,
and I am cool with that. And if you're not, I don't care. I don't care if you don't like that, because I like me. And that's kind of his attitude. And it was great.
And was that a call to the I ams?
Right? Hello, I am
I am
affirmations.
what I am.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
whatever I say I am, that's what I am. So, Ruthie, I grew up so poor. I always thought as a kid that vegetables and fruit only came in a can. That's really sad, Ruthie. I'm so sorry. But yeah, spinach was one of them with Popeye in the logo. I remember looking at that can thinking, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah,
It's gonna make me strong,
absolutely.
Little did I know that it was just cheap. Kind of
Yeah,
similar to what they put in our canned food today. Just cheap stuff.
I love spinach. I love fresh spinach.
Fresh spinach, yeah, but they boil everything out of the stuff in the cans. So the
Oh,
baby definitely tests the balance of Darwinism. Damn, Sarah.
woo!
Woo!
Amazing, Sarah. Yes.
Very
You,
interesting.
you
Yes,
guys
and we
in the
decided that
chat.
somebody's a con artist. Wimpy is a con artist, and he drug us all into debt. Thanks, Wimpy. And then Olive was a damsel in distress who always needed a man to save her. Exactly. Like she couldn't be alone. She had to
I
be either
know.
with Popeye or with Pluto. There was no chance to just be you and just, go, start your own business. Olive,
Exactly.
you got skills.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other thoughts before we move on to the next story?
One of my
I get
favorites.
I get the pleasure of introducing the Flintstones.
Flintstones.
Los
We are Flintstones.
Picapiedras.
Yeah.
Remember Ruthie? Los Picapiedras. Yabba dabba do. Yabba dabba do. So the
Yabba.
Flintstones. I mean, I grew up with the Flintstones. They were prime time on TV back in the day that we're not going to go there because I'm not going to age myself. The Flintstones in 1960 is poetic perfection. The show, much like the Jetsons, are twin pillars of classic animation, mirroring each other across the cosmic timeline. La Picapiedra, exactly. Uh, Remember the name? What was Pablo? Pablo Marmol. He was, so they were all like rock. Anyway, you have to be Puerto Rican to get it.
You do. I have no idea
You
what
have to
you're
be
saying.
Puerto Rican to get it. Pablo Marmol. Okay, so okay, so and by the way, who did not want? They had all those crossovers, right, between the Jetsons and the Flintstones, and it was like those were like events. It was like crossover, yes. It was like those cartoons weren't really for kids, really. So Flintstones 1960. So the positive themes: unshakable loyalty and brotherhood. Like the friendship between Fred and Barney was legendary. Like it didn't matter how much of a butthead Fred was with the schemes that always backfired on poor Barney, also known as Pablo, or poor Pablo. And the end of the day, he will always forgave him. Like it didn't matter. They
I know.
always made up. They never like. There was some episodes where like, oh man, are they really going to break up? And like you had the whole two couples, not talking. And I remember that drama. And it was the Flintstones. So the power of matriarchal wisdom. Wilma and Betty, they were the ones that really knew what was going on. Are truly the brains and the emotional anchors of Bedrock. And I love that because in this case, the women, it's like they were accepting that, yeah, Fred and Barney don't know what's going on, but the women know. So it's okay. So while Fred and Barney are all impulsive, short sighted, and just silly, the women bring logic, stability, and unconditional love to the households. The show quietly highlights that a strong family relies heavily on the wisdom of women. Yes, and we're not there to just cook and clean. That they really needed the women to kind of keep them anchored. So ingenuity and adapting to your new environment. The Flintstones live in a world where technology does not exist. So they creatively adapt nature to fulfill their needs, using a mammoth as a shower, a pelican as a trash can, and a bird's beak as a record player shows an incredible. I mean, I love that. It's when
I
they would
know.
always put the bird down on
Yeah. The bird would say, "Oh, not
not
again."
again.
And then,
Yeah, it's like, so they make the absolute best out of what Earth provides. Adoption. I mean, it brought the first time we're talking about adoption in a cartoon, the storyline of Barney and Betty not being able to have a baby. You know, adopting Bam Bam it was one of the most heartwarming moments in animation history because it was not a topic that was commonly used or talked about. It beautifully teaches children that family isn't just about genetics; it's about love, choice, and opening your heart to a child in need. And they had faith, and then they lost their faith, and all of a sudden, Bam Bam shows up, and everybody loved Bam Bam, and everybody wanted Bam Bam, and no Pebbles to get married, and then they had a spinoff, and it sucked. So maybe you should not wish that.
Yes.
So spinoffs don't work. So then the hidden symbols. The Flintstones is absolutely drenched in esoteric secret societies. The post-apocalyptic reset. So were they really in the past? Sure. As we touch on with the Jetsons, high-level theorists believe bedrock isn't an ancient past at all, that it is a distant future. After a massive global cataclysm, nuclear war, a simulated reset by the elite, humanity was plunged back into the Stone Age. So, because you can notice that bedrock is not, you know, they had technology, they had their technology, right? It was fully functioning social, you know, structure.
Animals.
They had supermarkets. They had, you know, the Dino. Was it? It was Dino in Spanish. Yep. Was it Dino in English? Right? Okay, Dino. You know, standard corporate hierarchies with Slate Rock and Gravel Company. And they celebrate Christmas. You know, it's not the evolution of man, it's the technological reset where humans are forced to rebuild society using stones and dinosaurs because the old world was completely erased. I think that's a very valid, you know, interpretation of it. Mm-hmm. It's crazy how far back the symbolism has been in our face. Yes, Blooming Iris, absolutely.
Yes, absolute.
Oh, let's talk about the royal... Go ahead.
There's a number of people here too that didn't remember or know that Bam Bam was adopted. So love it. I love that you're learning things that you didn't know. Because yes, that was one of the big things to me as a kid, thinking, oh my God, Barney and Betty can't have a child, and they wanted a child so bad that
I remember when they couldn't.
Yes,
and they would see like Pebbles and they would see other people having babies, but poor Betty couldn't. It was and poor Barney. And it's just it was so I get all choked up thinking about it. Because we saw their whole story at night. You know, on prime time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Captain Harris. Bam Bam was left on the doorstep in a basket.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Yes, I remember that. Exactly. So, oh my God. And then using a baby mammoth as a vacuum cleaner was hilarious. It was. I mean, all their, when they would yabba dabba do down a dinosaur on the way out of work, you know, after they clock out.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the Masonic blueprint, the Royal Order of the Water Buffaloes. You got to do the Mr. Blue. That's the secrecy. They couldn't tell their names.
They had a band, the Way Outs. The Way Outs. Thank you, Law Wifey.
Law Wifey. They had a band. Yes. Oh, you set her up. She was talking about the Way Outs before the show. So you did it. You went there. So the Buffalo Lodge is a direct, overt parody of Freemasonry and the Shriners. Fred and Barney wear grand fez hats, use secret handshakes, have an elaborate initiation ritual, and answer to the Grand Poobah. I love when they say Grand Poobah.
I know.
From the esoteric lens, this is soft disclosure of how secret societies control the civic and social life of working class. It shows that even in a primitive Stone Age matrix, the brotherhood exists to manage the resources, the social hierarchy, and the loyalty of the labor force. Then we even have aliens, you guys. We had the Great Gazoo as an interdimensional archon, and I have an idea on that too. So the Great Gazoo is a tiny green floating alien from planet Cetus.
That says, hey, dum-dums.
I say dum-dums because you're stupid. Who was banished to Earth because he invented a button that could destroy the universe. So send him to Earth. He only appears to Fred and Barney, calling them dum-dums and manipulating their reality and advancing technology that looks like magic. This seems like a day in UFO life. In conspiracy circles, Gazoo represents an interdimensional entity or archon, or maybe Anunnaki, a non-human intelligence that toys with human beings, offering them shortcuts and advanced knowledge just to watch them stumble, keeping humanity dependent of external cosmic forces. What a trip it would be if that's how they introduce aliens to us. It was Gazoo, and it was actually telling us that the Anunnaki were sent here because, they were basically Gazoo.
Ooh, the great
Just saying, the great
Yeah.
Gazoo.
He's a little bit smaller though. That's the problem. But but they can.
They're
shrink him.
introducing
They
a
can shrink
concept.
him.
They're introducing a concept.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. The exploitation of the animal kingdom. Here we go. So appliances and bedrock are sentient animals. They weren't just animals, they were sentient animals, and they hated their jobs. Birds, mammoths, dinosaurs. They're all literally trapped inside walls and counters to do manual labor. That actually sounds like us, isn't it? Whenever they finish a task, they look directly at the camera and sigh, "It's a living." Theorists view this as the bleak commentary on the systemic conditioning and biological slavery, people. If it subliminally programs the audience to accept that sentient beings are meant to be cogs in an economic wheel, silently accepting their drone-like existence because it's a living. I had to say it like that.
And then right before any of them were used, it was like, oh no, not again.
Not again. But it's a living.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. The archetype of the subterranean laborer. Fred Flintstone works for the Slate Rock and Gravel Company, literally operating a dinosaur to dig deeper into the earth. So esoterically, mining and quarrying represent digging into the subconscious or being trapped in the densest, most material layer of reality, the stone matrix. New matrix, the stone matrix. Fred is perpetually stuck in the physical grind. Think about it. All he did was get up, go to work. 5 o'clock, yabba dabba doo, go
And
home,
the poor guy
get the cocktail ready, and pour.
And they got to
Wilma had to be ready.
To drive. They didn't have a gas pedal. They had
Didn't have jack squat. You're like, you love to do that, don't you?
Yeah, I'm Mr. Blue.
He's too busy smashing rocks to pay for Wilma's shopping trips. He is the ultimate symbol of the modern man trapped in a base level physical illusion. He could not provide totally for his family. She couldn't go shopping with Betty. And that is what's important, right, for females to go shopping. And by the way, that didn't even Wilma was such a powerful force in that household. Do not get me started. I didn't get there though. 15. Bedrock goes from being a cute town with dinosaur cars to a post-apocalyptic secret society-controlled labor camp being monitored, floating green alien. And that's the story of the Flintstones.
Do you know what else too that I think of? I always think, and it was always Fred, if you guys remember. And when he was contemplating something, he would have the angel show up on one shoulder and the devil show up on the other. And then the three of them were having a three-way conversation, right? And he would just be like, the angel would say, no, Fred, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that. And the devil was like, go for it, Fred. You need to do this, Fred.
You need to host Barney again.
Yeah.
Forget Barney. Barney will take you back.
I loved the Great Gazoo character because he literally came in, and because he was more evolved than Fred and Barney, he just referred to them as dum-dums all the time. Hey, dum-dums. And he would just, anything that needed to happen, it was like, instant manifestation. He'd snap his fingers and boop, and it was done. So, and other times he was like, oh no, to heck with you guys. I'm not helping you. Figure it out for yourself. So the Great Gazoo was really, really great. I loved him.
It was
And
awesome.
when
I
talking
love the
about
episodes with Gazoo. Those are my favorite episodes.
me too. And you know, the other two characters, when the Wayouts played at the Water Buffalo Lodge and the Mr. in walks Anne Margrock and Carrie
Oh my God,
Granite.
yes.
Carrie Granite.
They were classic. That was classic. Dino. Yes, we have to mention him. Captain Ears. Poor Dino. Dino was so cool. I love Dino. He was just like, just this sweet, loyal boy. You know?
I love Dino.
Didn't they have a cat? They had a cat. Nobody paid attention to the tiger, the saber-toothed tiger.
Yes, they did.
The tiger. That's right. They had a tiger. Oh my God, the dancing girls. Remember the dancing girls? Every time the door opened, dancing girls.
In the front door, out the back door. Back in the back door, out
They
the
would open the door and the legs would pop in. Remember? It's like, woo! It's like, no, close them up. Yes. But their bowling society, yes. Oh my God, they went bowling.
They did. They did all
the bowling society. They did all kinds of stuff. And what did Betty they went grocery shopping and they went to the mall and they cleaned.
And they used to spy on them because they used to think they were going to get in trouble. And then they would show up behind the scenes at the Water Buffalo Lodge just to be like, what are they up to over here?
Okay, we gotta. I'm gonna move on to the next one because we're at 2 hours and we're almost done. We got 2 more. So right? No, 3 more. 3 more. You go.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, we might. Do we want to do Wally? We'll check to see if this. Keep going. We'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So we are moving on, and it's going to tie into this. You're going to hear the Jetsons. Here's George Jetson.
His wife Judy.
Elroy, Jane, his wife.
Oh, that's right. Daughter Judy.
Daughter Judy. Exactly. Amazing. So it first aired in 1962 by Hanna-Barbera, same makers as the Flintstones. And it is an absolute holy grail when it comes to the intersection of childhood nostalgia and high-level conspiracy theories. Boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. As children, we watched Elroy, Judy, Jane, and George zip around in flying cars, thinking we were looking at a fun, distant utopia. However, looking back at it now through our tinfoil hat-wearing lenses, the Jetsons wasn't just a cartoon. It was an actual blueprint. So you guys, what we're going to do right now is we are going to rocket right into Orbit City with the Jetsons. And we are going with the positive themes. So we have the power of the nuclear family unit. No matter how chaotic life gets in the future with rogue robots and malfunctioning treadmills, the Jetsons remain a tight-knit, loving family. George and Jane are supportive parents, and the family genuinely cares for one another, proving that human connection remains the most important foundation, even in a hyper-technological age. We have technological optimism and efficiency that comes up in this show. The show beautifully imagined a world where technology eliminates the grueling physical labor of the past. It sparked an entire generation's imagination to invent the very things we use today, like video calls, smart watches, robotic vacuums, and flat screen TVs. And it celebrated human ingenuity and progress. The dignity of the everyday worker. Hey there, Mr. Hellfire. We have a working class guy, even in the 21st century, that he pushes a single button. The Indexus 1 is the button. For 3 hours a day, George Jetson, 3 days a week, not too major, 3 hours a day, 3 days a week. He still feels the stress of a demanding boss who is Mr. Spacely and the hustle to provide for his family. It brings a comforting and relatable humanity to a cold, metallic future. We have the inclusion of non-human family members in this show. We have Rosie the robot, and we have Astro the dog. And they are treated with the exact same love and respect as any human family member. It highlights a beautiful theme of empathy, showing that loyalty, affection, and companionship can transcend biological boundaries. And now we are going into the hidden symbology. So the Jetsons is famous in conspiracy circles because it has a staggering amount of predictive programming and a very dark hidden premise. We have the post-apocalyptic great flood below the clouds. So have you ever noticed that in the Jetsons, you never actually see the surface of the Earth? Orbit City is built entirely on massive, adjustable, sky-high stilts called sky pads. Why? The theory is that in 1970, Hanna-Barbera released the Flintstones. So here's the tie-in on the Jetsons, where the two families meet via a time machine.
Yes. Love time machine crossovers, man.
Yes.
This is the best.
But theorists have a much darker interpretation with this. The Flintstones and the Jetsons actually take place at the exact same time. While a massive eco-catastrophe or nuclear war or a global flood ravaged the surface of the Earth, forcing the primitive survivors, which are the Flintstones, to live in a Stone Age reset, the ultra wealthy elite fled to the heavens, the Jetsons, to live in a floating high-tech technocracy completely separated from the lower class below. Very interesting, right? So
we're going to Mars now, so it's like interesting,
right?
Again, they tell you everything. Go ahead.
Boom. I know. The transhumanist seduction, or the automated matrix. Life in Orbit City is so automated that the humans are experiencing severe muscle atrophy and physical laziness, similar to what we saw or what we will see in WALL-E, in the movie WALL-E. George complains of push button finger exhaustion, and Jane uses a mask. If you remember the mask, she takes the mask to put her face on in the morning. So she doesn't have a face on until she puts the mask on her face. Everything is synthetic. Synthetic food comes out of a pill machine. And human beings have surrendered their natural biology and sovereignty to a corporate-controlled grid. Very interesting. The constant surveillance, guys. Okay, here we go. The constant surveillance and the all-seeing Spacely sprockets. Cosmo Spacely, which is George Jetson's tyrannical boss, is the ultimate symbol of the corporate deep state. He controls the means of production, but more importantly, he has eyes everywhere. Think 5 eyes, guys. Think 5 eyes. He routinely pops up on monitors in George's flying car, his home, and his office, demanding total surveillance and compliance. George's entire life is micromanaged by corporate algorithms and workplace trackers, a chillingly accurate prediction of modern data tracking and corporate surveillance. This blows my mind.
And that year, what year was it? This came out 60 or 59? Did it come out at the same time as
62?
62. Think about it.
Yeah, I know. Like it is crazy and mind-blowing. And then we come to Rosie the robot as the AI handler. The AI handler. Rosie isn't just a maid. She is the synthetic authority figure of the household. She manages the schedules, she cooks the food, and subtly directs the emotional climate of the entire family. So from an esoteric lens, she's actually representing the soft disclosure, in my opinion. And it's artificial intelligence that is integrating into the human family unit. Well, what's about to happen here, right? So acting as an algorithmic handler that conditions the children, Elroy and Judy, to trust and obey the machine over any human instinct. I find this so incredibly crazy because it's.
It was telling you. It was telling you.
Absolutely.
This is 1962. They were telling us.
Yeah. Yeah.
A couple of comments. Can I read up a couple?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, I never thought of it that way. The Jetsons were the elite, and basically the Flintstones were the regular people that were left behind.
Yes.
Again, you're talking about, humans going to a different planet. We're not going to be part of that. Yeah, so Sarah's like this was before Orwell's 1984. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Helen, in the World Economic Federation's vision of the future, they write about the civilized people living in big corporate cities, and they fear the people who live in the countryside. Again, yeah, they've got the 15-minute cities that they're building.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
for and that's for the conspiracy round table, which we'll be talking probably about that, because that one has to be out there.
Yeah, right.
Tesla, Optimus, Bot. Yep. It's like Jetsons in the city and Flintstones in the countryside. Exactly. And then, yes, we will not be able to leave the planet. Yet Elon Musk is doing the SpaceX and God knows what else. Exactly, Ruthie Robles. So it's a trippy. I mean,
it is.
It's like predicting today. In 1962, and it made us not fear, right? It's like, oh, Rosie, she's so cute.
Oh, I know.
She's just cute. She's adorbs. Right. She would never hurt you because Rosie actually knows what's going on and she helps.
So. Well, that's what I thought as a kid watching it. I'm like, well, who doesn't want a Rosie?
Everybody wants to have Rosie around.
When you look at it,
talk about manifesting, man. It's like, put it in a movie. We manifested. The technology appears. There we go.
So I'm gonna keep going here. So then we have the grand architecture of, again, the Saturnian enclosures. So the structures in the Jetsons are highly styled with rings and discs. And what is that heavily mimicking is Saturn, right? The astrological symbol of time, which is an illusion, of restriction, which is an illusion, and the material matrix. These characters live in a literal loop, flying in circular pathways, living in circular pods, and repeating the same consumeristic cycles. What does mainstream media do, guys? This is what we listen to now. The same loop all the time. And it's just like, stop talking. I don't want to hear it.
Consume. Keep consuming.
Exactly.
Like they live.
So they are trapped in a futuristic neon-colored hamster wheel. You're not getting anywhere if you're on the hamster wheel. And they are blissfully unaware that they are living in a giant engineered terrarium in the sky. So it's crazy for us to realize that this cartoon that we loved for its cool flying cars might actually be showing us an elite class of survivors that are hovering above a destroyed Earth, trapped in a corporate AI surveillance matrix. And that is the Jetsons. Woo! What did you guys
Rip,
think?
girl. That was so good. Let's see. So, John, so I don't think I saw Disney films as such, but I saw the cartoons. My dad loved Popeye and Tom and Jerry and the Flintstones later on. I would love to see like a Looney Tunes episode because Looney Tunes, you got so many characters in Looney Tunes
Yeah.
from Bugs Bunny and Tom, you got Tom and Jerry, you got the Porky Pig. I don't know, maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
not all Looney Tunes, but you know what I mean. It's
Well,
like
no,
that they have that whole set of
Bugs Bunny.
cartoons and they all
Yep.
played a role,
I have
That's
so
even the
many of
little
them on the
hawk.
list. Yeah, they're all on a list. I've got them on our list. And I also included Harry Potter, Madagascar, and Dumbo.
Ooh, Dumbo is gonna break my heart. So,
I know.
oh, then Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes. There we go. Now we're talking
Mandela.
Mandela effect.
Woo!
Mandela effect. Looney Tunes or Looney Tunes. Which one do you remember? Okay, you want me to take? We have two more stories to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's take us home. We're gonna go to the next one. Wally. Wally. It was so fun, right? Everybody, I watched this at El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, and it was amazing. So, Wally 2008 is a beautiful, quiet film on the surface, but underneath that rusty little robot exterior is a massive commentary on humanity, technology, economy, just ancient mythologies. It's got a little bit of everything. I sound like it's like that character from SNL. It's like this club has everything. The positive themes of the movie: the indestructible nature of love, Wally and Eve's relationship. Who did not get drawn into that? It's an emotional anchor of the movie. It shows that love isn't just organic chemical reaction. It's a profound spiritual connection that can bridge any gap, even between a rusty, obsolete garbage crusher and the sleek, high-tech probe, which was Eve. Love is what ultimately wakes humanity up from its literal slumber. Isn't it that like love's first kiss, waking up the princess? Like we're still playing that out.
Sleeping
Environment.
Beauty.
Yeah, exactly. So environmental stewardship and renewal. The little green sprout. Wally represents, and Wally represents hope, resilience, and the idea that life will always find a way if given the chance. That little sprout, it just made you so hopeful. One little leaf. It's a powerful call to action about taking responsibility for our planet rather than treating it as a disposal commodity. Reclaiming humanity and autonomy on the axiom humans have traded their freedom, health and critical thinking for absolute comfort. You got to think about this, you guys. The movie celebrates the moment people literally stand on their own 2 feet, stand like they just are carried through life, and they finally stand on their own 2 feet, disconnect from their screens, and show the messy, difficult, but beautiful reality of real human connection and hard work over automated luxury. It was all, it's all a lie. And then the value of the overlooked. Wally is literally a piece of forgotten junk left behind to do the dirtiest work. Yet, because he preserves artifacts of human culture, music, trinkets, lighters, he holds the key to saving the human race. It teaches that worth isn't defined by how shiny or new you are. So in this case, he was the worthy, a little piece of junk. So let's talk about the hidden symbology. And Wally's packed with heavy esoteric themes, biblical allegories, and corporate dystopia theories. It get pretty wild pretty quick. So by and large, BNL, one world government, people. Let's just have it all over. By and large, isn't just a mega corporation. It is the ultimate realization of the new world order. We were talking about World Economic Federation stuff. Here we go. A single corporate entity controls the economy, the media, food production, space travel, and eventually government leadership itself. The BNL CEO is also the president. Isn't that a conflict of interest? It is a dark look at the technocracy where citizens are fat. Oh, did I disappear? Am I still
No,
there?
you're good. You're good. You
I
froze
just
for
I froze for a second. When I said we're all fat, that's probably when I froze.
That's exactly when you froze.
That's funny. It is a dark look at technocracy. Where, yeah, they're yes, technocracy where citizens are pacified into compliance to consumerism and obesity, rendering them completely dependent on the system for survival. So you're gonna keep getting that little drink. Who knows what's in it? Because some theories say it's people. Soylent Green is people. The Noah's Ark and Gnostic allegory. No, we already got that one. Oh no, was
No.
yeah, that was it. The axiom of simplicity of it is explicitly a futuristic Noah's Ark, preserving the last of humanity while a flood of garbage cleanses the earth. Eve, extraterrestrial vegetation evaluator, Eve, is the white dove sent out to find sign of life, the olive branch or sprout. Then comes the twist. From an esoteric and Gnostic perspective, Otto, the autopilot AI, acts as the Archon, a robotic jailer, keeping humanity trapped in a fake, comfortable matrix, the ship, so they never return to the true source. Otto's directive, Operation Directive A113, is the ultimate hidden code keeping humanity enslaved. We need to look into that 113. The glandular and transhumanist agenda. Theorists point out how humanity on the axiom has been physically altered. They can no longer walk. Same story as before. A little bit Jetsons, but more exaggerated. They can't walk. Their bone density has dissolved, and they are perpetually confined to hovering chairs. In conspiracy circles, this is viewed as a commentary on the soft pill or pacification agenda using technology, artificial food, and electromagnetic frequencies to biologically degrade the human. So it can never rebel against his owners, right? You know, they want us weak. They want us programmed. They want us busy and distracted. Then there's the Luciferian awakening of Eve. And it's always Eve that comes in, right? In esoteric traditions, always the Eve. Bringing knowledge to or spark of life to a dormant population is often associated with Prometheus or Luciferian light-bearing symbolism. Eve arrives as a glowing, faceless white egg. It had to be an egg, a symbol of cosmic creation and potential. He brings the green sprout, the forbidden knowledge of the old world, into the sterile, controlled environment of the axiom, triggering a chaotic rebellion against ruling authority. Mm-hmm. Then finally, the ritualistic destruction of the past. Wally spends 700 years, you guys, building massive cigarettes in pyramids out of compressed garbage cubes. In occult architecture, pyramids represent the alignment of material energy. So here we're kind of going back to the beginning. Wally is literally constructing the tomb of the old world, processing the physical remnants of human history into monolithic structures. While the elite live in the heavens, waiting for the ritual purification of the planet to be complete.
So where did we just hear that? We just heard that in the Jetsons.
Exactly. The same thing, exact same thing, from the atrophy of the body, you know, to where we are now. You know, and all of these Pixar movies just tell you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
What they thought was happening to the world. So this, you know, this is the story of Wally. A breakdown of corporate totalitarianism. I can't talk. That's Wally. Any questions, thoughts on Wally?
It's awesome.
I love Wally. It's one of my favorite movies. But
I do too.
It was like what's left, right? In a world where AI is leading, it's like, how valuable will we be when we're floating in dependent chairs and drinking artificial slop? Oh, that's right. We're already doing that. Never mind. Back to you.
I'm not drinking no artificial slop. I'm
Hold
not
on. I've got a
doing it.
sound. I got a sound effect for that. Hold on. We got a sound effect for that. There. Okay. Now we're gonna take us home. Take us home, Sati. Anybody have any comments on Wally? I might have missed. Sarah says you totally changed my perspective of the story, and I'm okay with it. You broke me, and I dig it, says Sarah. That's what that meant. You broke me a little.
I just think it's great. I love too how all of these stories, including the ones we did in our first episode, they have a lot of common stuff in the background, and it kind of blows my mind, the similarities. You know, there's not a lot of differences.
No, there isn't, and they're really trying to push them. They're pushing a topic. You know, they're pushing points.
They are.
So next, our last story of the day, Sati is going to walk us through Fantasia, the movie that you thought you'd have to be really stoned to watch.
Well, you could, but you know, if you're going to do that, I'm just putting it out there. If you're going to get really stoned and watch Fantasia, make sure you're stoned in a really good energy, because you know, you can really go the other way, and you might see some of the symbology if you're not in the right energies, and you probably will get freaked out. But it's always good for blow your mind kind of thing. So you guys
gather your mushrooms, people. Sati's going to walk you through Fantasia.
Oh yeah, gather your mushrooms. You know, microdose if you wish. It's totally okay. Smoke some
Little
cannabis,
dose.
whatever you need to do.
Dose.
All good. Yep, microdose is great, I'm sure. So I was blown away by this. What I did not realize about this movie is that it is from 1940. 1940. I thought it was much newer than that. So I was a little bit blown away. So this is easily one of the most trippiest, most visually surreal movies that have ever been created. This was not just a movie. It was Walt Disney's ultimate avant-garde experiment. Think of that. Keep that in mind as I share with you about this experiment, okay? By stripping away traditional dialogue and letting pure classical music drive the abstract animation, it bypassed the logical brain and went straight into the subconscious mind. That's very interesting to me, indeed. Because this movie is so abstract, it is a massive playground for both high art appreciation and very intense esoteric theories. So we'll start with the positive themes. And this is like a marriage of sound and sight, where Fantasia proves that art in itself can transcend language. And I love that. Many of you are very creative that are here, and your creativity, you know that in your creative mind and body and soul. So by visualizing classical masterpieces, this movie shows how music has texture, color, and form. It teaches us to see with our ears and hear with our eyes, expanding our sensory perception and imagination. The harmony of nature and the cosmos is really a huge theme in this movie. From the changing of the seasons that are orchestrated by the fairies in the Nutcracker Suite, to the vast epic scale of creation and evolution in The Rite of Spring. This film celebrates the grand design of nature. Again, just like Bambi, Lion King, the design of nature. It emphasizes that everything from a tiny snowflake to a massive galaxy is beautifully interconnected, because we are interconnected with everything. We have a warning in this movie against unearned power. And in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, Mickey Mouse tries to take a shortcut by using magic that he doesn't understand. This is very important, okay? To avoid doing hard work, carrying the water buckets. The disaster that follows is a timeless lesson. True mastery requires patience, discipline, and respect for any of these crafts. And shortcuts, usually always, guys, will lead to chaos. We have also in this movie the ultimate triumph of light over the darkness. The transition from the terrifying, chaotic energy of night on Bald Mountain to the serene, peaceful dawn of the Ave Maria is incredibly powerful. That's my favorite classical song, by the way, Ave Maria.
Yeah.
Delivers a profound message of hope, no matter how terrifying, oppressive, or dark the night gets. It's only temporary, just as everything else. Everything is a temporary happening. The light, the sacred, and the peaceful will always return to restore balance. And now, bum, 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 we are moving into the hidden symbology. And Fantasia is widely considered by occult researchers to be a massive public display of high-level esoteric ritual and mind control symbolism. Oh my gosh, I just don't.
There you go, mind control.
Exactly. The sorcerer Yensid as the ultimate puppeteer. In The Sorcerer's Apprentice, the master sorcerer is named Yensid. Check this, guys. It blew me away. Yensid is Disney spelled backwards. What?
Oh, dude, duh.
I know.
Whoa, mind blown.
Right?
I didn't realize
mind
that
forked.
one. Yeah.
Mind forked. We just
Mind
got
forked. Yep, everybody got mind forked. It's Disney backwards.
It is, absolutely. I was just like, oh my gosh, it is. It really is Disney backwards.
Look at what Ruthie said. I wanted to say this is a witchcraft movie. Well, I think your mamita, was right. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So he wears the classic blue hat adorned with stars and crescent moons, which are the universal symbols of the occult magus, or the Grand Master, or we could say the Grand Poobah in the Flintstones.
Grand Poobah.
Theorists view this as Walt Disney explicitly revealing himself as an esoteric initiate who wields the magic of media, animation, and frequencies to manipulate the subconscious minds of the masses, the apprentices. We have that enters this movie the golem and automated slavery. So when Mickey animates the broomsticks, because we all know the dancing broomsticks, to carry the water, he inadvertently creates a golem, a creature from Jewish mysticism brought to life by magic or hidden codes to perform labor. When Mickey chops the broom to pieces, it multiplies exponentially into an unstoppable, unthinking, robotic workforce that nearly drowns him. In conspiracy circles, this is viewed as a stark warning about the creation of artificial life, cloned forces, or populations that are under complete and total mind control that eventually overwhelm their creators. We have the rite of spring and high level, here we go again, Freemasonic, deistic creation. Rather than a biblical creation story, the rite of spring in this movie is a segment that focuses heavily on cold, chaotic science, volcanic eruptions, and cosmic dust. It visually signs the great architect of the universe concept that is found in Freemasonry and the idea of a detached, geometric, and mathematical unfolding of reality that is based on primordial elements and raw, violent planetary transmutation. The pastel matrix of the Pastoral Symphony comes up in this movie. The segment featuring centaurs, Pegasi, and Greek gods looks like a beautiful mythic paradise, but conspiracists view it as a depiction of a highly stratified and engineered society. The entities are perfectly sorted by color and hierarchy, pampered by tiny cherubs who act like spiritual handlers or cupids, and ultimately subjected to the random, terrifying wrath of Zeus, throwing lightning bolts from the clouds. It represents humanity living in a controlled mythological enclosure at the mercy of tyrannical deities. We also have the Chernabog, the ritual, and again, guys, Saturnian worship. Night on Bald Mountain features Chernabog, a massive horned winged deity based on Slavic mythology and heavily reminiscent of Satan or Baphomet. He summons ghosts, demons, and witches from their graves to dance in fiery abyss, turning them into twisted beasts before destroying them in the flames. Theorists point to this as a literal representation of a black mass or a Saturnian ritual where a dark deity harvests the energy of human souls for raw power under the cover of darkness. And my favorite classical music song, the Ave Maria. I love it. This is the frequency shift. Right when Chernabog reaches the height of his power, the tolling of a church bell ends up breaking the spell, causing him to shield his eyes and fold back into the mountain. The film instantly shifts into Ave Maria, showing a procession of cloaked figures carrying glowing lights through a cathedral-like forest. Esoteric researchers view this entire finale as a demonstration of frequency manipulation. The movie forces the viewer through an intense psychological shock, which is the horror of the dark ritual, and then immediately bathes them into a soothing, hypnotic, harmonic frequency to imprint peace upon a completely vulnerable and hypnotized mind. So for me, it is wild to think that a movie made in 1940, completely devoid of spoken dialogue, could be packed with so many warnings about automation, occult initiation, and psychological frequency programming. No wonder it felt so trippy when we watched this as children. And that is your breakdown for Fantasia. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
They broke us all. And my conclusion is they broke us all. That is wild. Hold on. So we got some comments, and the guy and his dreams were interesting to say the least. Love listening to these stories in a whole new way with you all. Eye-opening information. Thank you, Tina. It is so glad that you're here, friend.
Yes.
Hold on. Definitely mind blowing. This whole show has been great. Thank you so much, you guys. This has been so fun. Señor Reprenda and children would watch this. This is a dark one. It's crazy. Oh, we were talking about Mr. Toad's Wild Rides. Like, is there a story around that? There probably is. I love that ride. That was like my favorite little stupid ride in Disney. It was Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So, you guys, we hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Anybody have any questions on Fantasia? I love that this quote though. When music takes the wheel, the invisible world steps into the light. How true is that statement? Because,
Uh-huh.
music can transport you to crazy places, you know?
Yes, it
So,
can. But
it
I
can.
use music to transport me to amazing places. Like to get
Mhm.
ready for our shows, I suggested this, I believe, to Ruthie in one of our shows. Like when you're going on, you guys were doing that whole the flipping with the mods, and there was some nervousness going on, and I'm just like, find your favorite tune and just jam out to the tune before you go, and then just do a little bit of breath work, and it's all good. It
Exactly.
works. It
So,
always ends up working. I love this, and you guys in the chat, oh my
mhm.
God, you've been
This is
amazing.
so awesome. I do want to say, so we have a couple of things going on. I want to say goodnight to the chatters here. Ruthie, thank you so much for being here today. Sarah, what a fun show. Blooming Iris, thank you for being here. Low wife here, sweet low wifey. Love them all. Helen, K9. I'm just, this has been so fun,
It
right?
has. It has.
Um,
I love doing these shows
we
because
had,
it's
go
so
ahead.
fun to research them, honestly.
Mhm. Captain Harris. Captain Harris, that's right. You've been here the whole time. Captain Harris, thank you so much, everybody. We
Yeah.
are going to show a couple of things. So hold on for our outro, which is going to be a video, which is a preview of our next show. And our
Yes.
next, well, actually, our next hidden symbols in series, because we have many new shows. I'm gonna walk us through what we're
Yep.
about to do. But Hidden Symbols 3 is going to be about nursery rhyme. So we're
Yeah.
taking it all back to the beginning. So, other things that we have going on, hold on, please. We got the Conspiracy Roundtable. Hold on. So,
Woo!
we are going to be participating in multi streaming with Calling All Beings on
Yep.
this Conspiracy Roundtable. And there's several people here on the chat today that are going to be part of that show. And we're so excited.
I'm very
So,
excited.
also, our sister Sati will be having a premiere of her Lionsgate portal opening, and that will include like a meditation, right? What else are you going to include in that?
Yeah. So every year I do an opening for the Lionsgate portal that happens the end of July every year. And I do channeled message from Divine Realms. I provide your light language code activations for this month. And then you will be getting a guided meditation right after. Then we've got the Peak of Lionsgate portal on the 8th that they have. And then the closing of the portal is on the 12th. So we've got some awesome stuff coming from the Divine Realms and Star Families guys for the Lionsgate stuff. And I hope you tune in because it's always amazing. And be prepared to be in a more calm state. And just you'll be able to integrate the new energies. And it's just a good feels type of thing. Yes, Ruthie.
Ruthie's
Conspiracy
going to be part of
Roundtable.
that Conspiracy Roundtable.
I'm
You guys
really
can't
looking
miss
forward to
that.
it.
I'm so
It's going to
excited
be
about
so
your
much
premiere,
fun.
the Lionsgate portal. And these are the type of things that we're going to continue to show and share on Cosmic Carousel's channel. So on Mindfort, the last Friday of this month, classic movie night is back, you guys. The Marx Brothers in the Cocoa Nuts. Intermission, fun, games, movies from an asylum. What does that mean? Well, you will have to tune in to see, because that is what we're going to do. So anybody that's would like to participate in that, ping me, because this is live. So we're going to be having live fun, games, intermissions, commercials, maybe a little burlesque. I'm not sure. I'm taking you back to the 1930s. And then in August, we're so excited about this show.
Yes.
Rockstar Tales with Susan Messino. She is an author of multiple books about ACDC, life with ACDC, touring with them, Van Halen. I mean, she's got so many stories. It is going to be awesome. Did I miss
Yes.
anything?
I
I got
don't.
them. For
I
now,
think, yeah, and
there's gonna be
then
more.
our hidden
Ah,
symbology.
oh yeah, we haven't posted that one yet, but I'm about to show the video. It's 11 p.m. where Helen is.
Divine
Magic number.
timing.
Okay, everybody in the chat. Love you all so much. I do have to bail because I have to make dinner still, and it's already 5:14. This one took a long time, but it is so good. And Ruthie is so super excited about ACDC, about Susan Messina, and about everything we have going on. So now I'm going
Yes,
to play
I'm
it off.
excited.
Sister, this was so much fun.
It was great. And you guys in the chat, always so amazing. You guys make it so much fun because without you guys, we wouldn't really do it. Why? If
Exactly.
nobody, yeah. So we really love this. And it's always fun to research stuff and bring things up that people don't always know. And we get to learn. So it's just, I love learning. I love learning. And I'm just so grateful for every single one of you that has been here today showing up. Richard, Ewok, Sharon.
Richard, that's right, Richard. Ewok, Carnundrum was here earlier. We had
Marcel, Kevin.
Marcel, the Mesto Hellfire, Kevin Yonka, Blooming Iris, K9, Mind Help, everybody just, you know, and all the cabbies. I have to do this one more time because that's going to be our new cabbie greeting. It's going to be, there we go, back to the cabbies. So here we go. I'm going to play us off with our next Hidden Symbol show, Nursery Rhymes. And we will see you guys very, very soon. I think we'll be back on probably sooner than that. There'll be more announcements coming out.
Yep.
So love you, sis.
Love you.
Bye.